I feel like it's become my new tradition that once Booker season is over, I just sink my teeth into some thriller mystery novels because I love them and they are so far from what I read during Booker season. Like literary fiction, never heard of it. Of course, right after this, I'm going to be diving into the National Book Award books. So, oh well. Hi, my name is Sarah Freshly and welcome back to Freshly Read Books. So in this video, I'm going to be reading 3 thriller mystery books. I think they all, one's firmly a mystery and then the other 2 kind of loosely fit into that genre. But basically books that I've been wanting to read for a long time that I'm excited to finally get to. But first, I know what you're thinking. Sarah, are you in a sweater? And yes, I am. Thank you for noticing. It's finally gotten cool enough in Florida to be wearing a sweater. I feel like sweater weather for Floridians is not necessarily sweater weather for everybody else, but we're gonna take what we can get here, especially because fall clothes are like my favorite type of clothes. And also Simple Retro sent me 4 articles of clothing, which will be featured in this video, starting with this sweater. Simple Retro is an online clothing store that has a lot of very cute things, not just for fall, it's just that that's what I picked. But I really like the style of the site in general. There's like a lot of very traditionally feminine items there and also a lot of traditionally masculine items there, but all sold for women. And the company is mostly run by women, which is awesome. But yes, so this sweater is from there. It is just a cute, simple white sweater, and it also looks really cute with like a collared shirt on under it, which I really love. But a great basic for this time of year. And also it's really, really soft. It's officially now my softest sweater. And I know I don't have many sweaters, but now I don't even need them because I've got a super soft one. So it's great. So each time I check in with a book, I'll be wearing another one of their pieces. Anyway, so let's talk about the books that I'm going to be reading in this video. So the first one is Liane Moriarty's 9 Perfect Strangers, which I have rented as an ebook from the library. I actually started reading this one while I was in Thailand as just like a book to read when I couldn't focus on the Booker books that I was also reading during that time. I didn't get very far in it. My thoughts so far is just that I'm liking it. There has already been a twist at this point. Oh, I haven't said what it's about. So 9 Perfect Strangers follows a group of people, 9 people obviously, that come to this place called the Tranquillum House, which is like a spa resort type place, but it's focused on like doing a, X amount of day cleanse. So I think that most of them are on like a 10-day cleanse. And it's supposed to be like this entirely life-changing experience. We are also getting the perspective of somebody that works there, and the prologue like starts off with that person's perspective, but before they started working at the Tranquillum House. And so at this point I'm just like, okay, but why, like what happened to get him from point A to point B basically? And then I think like the idea is basically like the resort isn't all that it seems, or there's like something else going on, one of those types of stories. Anyways, the second book I'll be reading is Dial A for Aunties or Aunties. This book follows a young woman, I don't know, I want to say like 20s, in her 20s, and she's very close with the women in her family. So there's like 4 aunties. One of them is her mom though, and then the other 3 are her mom's sisters, her actual aunts. And she, I think, as in the main character, I think she accidentally kills somebody, is what the synopsis sounds like. Yeah, ends up accidentally killing her blind date. I don't know how that happens, but I'm curious to see. And then they're basically trying to hide this, and so it's her and her mom and aunts trying to hide what happened. And during all of this, there's a wedding happening somehow. So this is actually a book club book of mine, but the book club event is tomorrow, so there's no way I'm gonna finish this by then, unfortunately. But I will be reading it as like a buddy read, using the Storygraph buddy read thing, which I haven't used yet, with one of my friends. So I'm excited to do that and try that out for the first time. I'll also let you know how that goes. And then lastly, I'm going to be reading You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes, which is the 3rd book in the You series. That's that one that's on Netflix that has, what's his name from Gossip Girl? Dan. He'll never not be that person to me. I'm sorry. It's funny though, because now I feel like everybody's seeing him as Joe from You, which is such a different perspective, because everything I'd seen him in, he's been like so much the nice guy. Like he is the nice guy of Gossip Girl. Arguably, I won't get into reasons why he wouldn't be that person, because in case you want to go back and watch the original Gossip Girl. But also like in Easy A, he's the nice guy in that. And in what's the other one that like the other teen, John Tucker Must Die. So he's like always playing this very nice guy, and then he gets like the role of Joe from You, and so different. But anyways, I'm excited to read the third book in the series. I really want to watch the third season, which came out a while ago on Netflix, and I actually haven't even finished the second season, so I need to get on that. I think I only have like a couple episodes left, but that's the plan. And I know that the books and the series have kind of diverged at this point, but I still really want to read first and then watch. It's just my preferred method, as is for almost everybody. But if you don't know, You, which is the name of the entire TV show on Netflix, and the original book of this series, is about a man, Joe, who gets really obsessive about a person. And so the book is told from his perspective, and it's told like about to a girl, and like you as the reader are kind of that person. So he says like, I see you walk into the bookstore, or I read this thing about you. And even to the point where it's like things about her personality, like, oh, you would never do something like that. So it's all told from that perspective, but it's largely like in his mind, he's thinking these things, but it's all focused on one person. And he has this very obsessive personality, so that works out really well. He also has a bit of a dangerous personality, but some of the thoughts that he has are very like hateful things, like they're fueled with hate. And there are even points when you kind of agree with him on certain things, but he just like takes it to such an extreme that you're like, okay, like, calm down. Anyways, those are the 3 books that I'm going to be reading in this video, so I will go ahead and get started. So I have read Dial A for Aunties, and I'm ready for another update. I'm coming to you from Curtis's office because I am on gray kitten duty. If he settles down enough to come over here. Oh, hello. Okay, now it's good. I'll show you him. A little bit bigger probably since the last time you saw him, but he's very playful right now, so go ahead. Have fun. You might hear him in the background. He's got so many toys in this room, and he's just going wild. Oh, it's so cute though. So I guess I'll do a little kitten update since I'm here with him. If you don't know, Curtis and I rescued a kitten. That's the black kitten. We have officially named him. His name is Zuko, named after one of our favorite TV shows, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And there's a character in that named Zuko who has a scar. He's been burned, and so he has this scar on his face. And also the stray kitten that we took in had a scar over that same eye when we took him in. You can't really see it anymore. It was really prevalent for quite a while, and it's still there, but a lot of fur has grown. Okay. But a lot of fur has grown back, and so you can't quite tell anymore, but he does still have a little scar there. Initially, we were kind of hoping that they could be Aang and Zuko and both go from the same show, but we're still kind of getting to know the gray kitten and his personality and trying to figure out what name would best suit him. And we don't really want to be tied to trying to make those names a pair, although initially that's what we were thinking. The 2 kittens are still separate. Scout has seen both of them at this point. She's been around both of them at this point, although the gray kitten was an accident. But everything's gone pretty well. I mean, she doesn't really like them, but she just stays away from them. I think that actually we'll be able to bring them all together very soon. What are you doing, huh? Anyways, have to also mention the shirt that I am wearing. So this is more of like a polo, I don't know, it feels like I should be boating or something, but it's like cropped at the perfect length. It's got I love the stripes that like don't continue all the way up. I don't know what that's called, but I like it. And I'm obsessed with the collar. I think it's just the collar and the buttons. I really like collared shirts and buttons. As you probably already know if you've been on my channel for a while. It's like all my clothes. Anyways, let's talk about Dial A for Aunties. So I will say, for like the first 2 chapters, I was like really not feeling it, and I was a little bit worried, but after that, was totally into it. I loved the like lighthearted energy of this book, the silly nature, not a toy, the silly nature, but it's still like a mystery novel. And well, it's not a mystery because you know who did it, but it's just like it's trying to cover it up and it's seeing if other people will figure out the mystery or not. There's also a romantic interest happening during it, and I didn't really enjoy those parts as much. Like you get a lot of flashbacks. So for part 1 of the book, it alternates between like past and present. And I wasn't really into the past ones because it didn't have anything to do with like the fun part of the book, which is like this accidental murder. Also, there is just like constant things happening, like because the wedding is happening and then also the murder. Like you don't ever feel like you're in a lull in the book, and there was so much of it at the end that was like propelling you to read more. And yeah, it speeds up so much at the end. It's a very quick read. It's a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun doing the Storygraph buddy read thing. I'm definitely going to be using that going forward. I think that friend and I are going to be using it a bunch because we just really enjoyed that like format where basically you say how many pages you've read and then you leave a comment. And so whoever else is a part of that buddy read, they can only read that comment if they've read that many pages as well. And then you get like a reveal comment button, and then you can choose to read it when you're ready. So it was really cool because you could get your thoughts out like as soon as you had them, and then the other person could read them as soon as they got there. And it was really motivating because I remember she was like at 81% of the book, and that was like where her next comment was. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to get to 81% because I want to see like what she said. Very cool way to do buddy reads. I really like that Storygraph has added that in. So I finished You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes, but before I get into that, just wanted to talk about what I am wearing. So today I went with more of this like athleisure look from Simple Retro. It says Simple Retro right on it, embroidered, and I really love the cut of this. I like the collar. I could definitely see myself wearing this with like yoga pants or leggings. And yeah, this was actually the first one that I picked out and was so excited about. I was like, yes, for sure, that one. I really like it. So, and I was happy when it came in, and I liked it just as much in person. So as a reminder, this is the third book in the You series. And I've also started watching the third season of the TV series You. So I think when I started this video, I had only seen the first season and most of the second season. So I finished out the second season and have now started on the third. And it definitely has taken a lot of liberties at this point from what the original text was. But there is still, like, the setting is the same. We are in suburbia. And there are certain similarities that I feel like I can say that aren't spoilers, despite this being the third book in a series. Like Jo is volunteering at the library, both in the book and in the TV series. There's like certain things that are similar, but overall, like plot-wise, quite different. Anyways, let's focus on the book, considering this is a reading vlog. I mean, can I call this a reading vlog? I'm just updating every time I finish a book. We're gonna call it one. So I think the most interesting thing from this book is really just like the character development from Jo. He is such a unique character because we're following like the antagonist basically, but you're meant to sympathize with him. It's not necessarily a new concept, but it is one that I really like and I think is done really well in the series. And I think it's because you can sympathize with Jo so easily despite him being objectively a bad person. Now, there are certain things that are so dislikable about him, and I think it's a lot more prevalent in the books than it is in the series. I think it's a lot easier to be on Jo's side, to want to see the best for him and the people that he cares about. But in the books, you are in his mind so much more. Like, everything is from his perspective. You don't get any shots of other people like you do in the series. Like, sometimes in the series, you'll see two people talking that have nothing to do with Jo. Jo's not watching it, you know, like he's completely removed from that scene, and there's no way he would ever know what was going on in that scene, and yet you get to see it as a viewer. That's something that would never, ever, ever happen in these books because they're all completely from Jo's perspective. Now, because of that, because you get so much more from Jo, I think it's a lot easier to see the parts of him that you wouldn't like as a reader. I will say I think that Jo gets better in this story. Like, I think that there is some growth there, although it's very minimal. Overall, I had a lot of fun reading this book. I'm definitely going to continue in this series. I really enjoy reading from this series. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to whatever book happens next. I actually should look up when the next one is. So I finally finished reading 9 Perfect Strangers, and I'm here to do this update. Who would have thought that that would be the last book in this video?
Who would have thought? Not me.
And it was the one that I had started before this video. But quickly, before we do that, just to talk about the shirt that I am wearing. I love this one. I love the neckline of it so much that it's like almost a turtleneck, and it's got the buttons and everything. But I like have to wear my hair up when I'm wearing this one because I just want everybody to see how cute the neckline is. And it's also nice, warm, cozy. All the things that you want. I will definitely be wearing this for Thanksgiving this year. Anyways, let's talk about 9 Perfect Strangers. So I did have a lot of fun with this one, but more the beginning part, like the slow discovery about the resort. I also enjoyed finding out more about the characters, but there were certain characters that I more wanted to stay on and learn more about, and I found that for those characters, we really learned a lot about them at the beginning. And then the ones that I didn't care as much about were more focused on towards the end or further into it. And so for the second half of the book, I would feel like that more lagged for me. There were definitely still moments that I would like get right back in it and be like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen next? But I felt like those were very short-lived, and certain choices that were made, I was like, that's not okay. I don't think it's necessarily like surprising like about the characters. There was one decision that was made where I was like, for real. But for the most part, I would say that everything fit with like the characters and what we were taught about the characters. But I more mean like the decisions that were made like to have in the book as a whole, because they just like weren't as interesting and I wasn't as into it. I definitely want to read more from this author. What is it, Liane Moriarty? It's not Moriarty, is it? Am I just saying that because of Sherlock Holmes? No, it is. That was what my gut was telling me, but then I was like, that's a Sherlock Holmes character. Like, are you sure? Anyways, I am interested to read more from Liane Moriarty. I have a friend that's read quite a bit from her, and I think that this one is her least favorite of the books that she's read. So I'm curious to read more now. Like, I definitely enjoyed it enough that I want to read more. It just wasn't like my favorite ever. Anyways, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you again to Simple Retro for sending me these 4 tops. If you are interested in any of them or interested in checking out Simple Retro at all, then links will be in the description to each of the things that I wore in this video, but also to their website. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, maybe subscribe, maybe like. I upload new videos every Wednesday, so I'll see you then. Bye.